So Robert Geronimo.
Robert Geronimo, motherfucker! Champion of children everywhere!
Whoa.
Champion!
I know.
What?
That's what I don't
What is that? What is wrong with that? Don't turn it
He didn't
down.
say conqueror. So.
There you go.
How did you become champion if you didn't come?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Robert Geronimo.
I'm going out of babyface path.
So Robert, tell us,
man.
how did you first start reading comics, and what were the events that brought you to Comic Book Jones?
Now!
All right. Yes. Well, actually, the first person who got me into comics was my mother.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very cool.
Yeah, my mom.
Usually you hear dad.
Yeah. My dad was not into comic books at all or art, but my mom.
So your walls were blank.
Yeah, exactly.
The fella's like, no! Take that down!
Just footballs.
Hangs the spoons from my favorite meal. This is when I conquered the meatloaf. Hang it!
Hey, he's a Vietnam veteran, so it's pretty rough.
There you go.
So,
You harbor no ill will toward Babyface.
I thought you were going to say that his dad probably killed my relative.
Oh, apparently you're here.
or maybe he's your father. We're brothers.
Jesus Christ!
Babyface Geronimo. That's the worst.
Hip hop name ever.
Yeah, man. No, that's like the name for like a gay hip hop step dancer. How you doing? I'm Babyface Geronimo. What? What? Step to me. Hit the beat.
BFG.
There you go.
Here I go. I'm gonna jump off this speaker, Geronimo.
That's brilliant.
I do it.
Sorry,
I already did that.
Ed's looking at me like he wants to kill me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I remember my mom told me she was like her favorite superhero, believe it or not, was Superman, and she had every issue. She would go and get every issue every month, and she said
Action Comics and Superman?
it was just Superman.
Okay.
She only gets Superman, and she took me to the comic book store. I believe it was in the mall way back when they had the comic book store in the Staten Island Mall, and she got me my first Superman comic, and it was the popular one where he's like all chained and it's a silhouette of him breaking through it. That was my first
awesome.
Superman
Cool.
comic. I just remember the artwork. Yeah, so that was
Oh, Superman 234. No,
no.
There's no fucking clue.
I want to see what Superman 234 looks like now.
You're gonna Google like Superman in chains, and you're gonna get a lot more than you want.
I've learned what not to Google in my life. I've learned what not to Google.
So now,
One of them.
Yeah.
did you maintain being a Superman fan?
Believe it or not, I didn't. I always loved the artwork.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Nervous laughter from the DC.
And yeah, I would believe it or not, I liked Superman, but I always found Batman much more interesting. 'Cause
Okay.
of how dark he was and the villains.
Right.
But believe it or not, my favorite character in comic books, which really got me heavily into comic books, was Hellblazer.
Oh, okay.
And I was much too young to read that stuff.
Are you upset he's not going to be smoking on the TV
Oh
show?
yeah, I'm very disappointed. But yeah, I mean the artwork and was so cool. Those covers were gorgeous, and I was just attracted to that stuff, and that's when I really got hardcore into it.
I mean, now were you able to like sneak in, a Hellblazer Vertigo title without your mother being aware that it was, more for mature audiences?
I couldn't really do that. It was hard. It wasn't until my cousin had given me a huge stack of comics that he had in his attic, and I was like, oh great, all these comic books. There was Superman in there, and I remember there was Hellblazer #1.
Nice.
I was like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So you have other members of your family who are into comics?
Yeah,
Did
my
that
cousin.
help, like,
Absolutely.
all right.
So Predator and all that stuff.
So were you a regular at a comic shop for a long time? Or?
I was, but believe it or not, I never read them when I was young. I would always follow the story through the pictures.
Really?
That would be it. I was so attracted to the artwork, and you can't control how someone reads a comic. It's either you look at the images first or
It's
you read it
the
first.
interpretation, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a song.
Exactly.
After it leaves your hands, it's
and
up
for
to-
me, when there's really great sequential storytelling, they just have such a flow that you don't want to break it by reading. Like if it's like maybe John Romita Jr. It's
Somewhere
like,
Eisner just smiled.
and you would just turn those pages, and then you would get the whole thing. And I think that's what makes a really good storytelling.
So was there a point when like you went back and you said, let me read these fuckers?
Yeah, eventually I did, and I was like kind of disappointed because I was actually sitting there thinking, oh, he must be mad because this happened. And I found it's because, like, his girl dumped him, and I was like, oh man, that's not nearly as cool.
Yeah.
My brain's cooler than you, Joe Constantine.
That idea is certainly reflected in your work.
No, yeah.
Little Maya and the Coral City is a story with absolutely no words, no
Nope.
dialogue.
Right.
And it's easy to follow. Easy to pick up. There's great personality in those characters. You kind of really let the visual storytelling take over.
Yeah, that was really the whole point too, and also that not that I'm against ebooks and audiobooks and even those, what do they call them, the ones that are interactive on the iPad and stuff like that, where you have like the voice reads the story
Like
to you.
the Marvel Infinity Comics.
Right. I mean, like, there's something magical about just opening a book and you're feeling the physical product. You know what I mean? And just letting the child or the reader, just imagine what's
Children
going on.
read too.
Yeah, of course they do. Imagine what's going on in the story without all that stuff going on.
So then it was definitely a conscious effort
Yeah.
to have
Absolutely.
no words whatsoever.
Because I really thought about how what my experience was like with comic books, and then I thought that's something that I think others must be feeling the same way.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing there that tells me that little Maya is the little girl. It could be the big fish guy.
Right.
I mean, seriously, that'd be pretty funny if you revealed that now. Well, actually, little Maya, that's Barbara, and the fish guy is little Maya.
Yeah. Right.
But I got to tell you, one thing I appreciate about your book is that there is not. I've always felt that there's not enough uvula thrashing in comics. And Maya beats the hell out of this fish's uvula.
Yeah, man, she hates that uvula.
Yeah. I love that. I love that the fight scene in the comic is between what I believe is like a 4-year-old and a giant fish uvula. It's fun for the whole family.
Yeah, Maya 1, uvula 0.
Spoiler. We also made the point that it's
a spoiler alert.
The fact that there's no language boundaries.
Right, exactly.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's accessible to any age, any language.
Aesthetically too, I think you have a very nice format, nice oversized hardcover.
Yeah.
That's a nice price too.
Yeah,
I think it looks very sharp.
Any of the small details are still bright in your face.
Right, yeah. I mean, Jose Exposito is an incredible colorist. He's out in Spain, if you have any Spain listeners.
Okay, yeah, we do actually.
That's awesome.
Look him up.
Yeah. He's great. And that Little Nemo was a huge influence.
You can tell which is
oh, yeah, without a doubt. His line work is just...
Talking about Little Nemo and Slumberland by Winston McKay.
Yeah.
There's a new series coming out in a couple months.
Yes, it's not by Winter, it's new stories,
Right.
new art, but it looks awesome.
Pretty sure he's
It's
dead.
by the same.
Well, it's not. The scripts can be found. Michael Jackson just put a CD out.
The same artist of
Yes, I hear.
same artist of Lock and Key is doing it.
Really?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Gorgeous.
And I don't think he's done anything since
No,
Lock
no.
and Key.
But I'll
What's
tell
his
you
name?
though,
We don't know.
Gabriel.
Gabriel Rodriguez.
No.
You're absolutely right.
I'll tell you though,
I am right,
I know.
actually.
Could you let Robert talk?
I love Little Nemo, but one thing that always disappointed me at the end of every story is that he would wake up and it would be over. And without giving away any spoilers, with Little Maya, I wanted to give the children the sense that, Little Maya has the ability to make her dreams come true. So.
You got the book Kickstarted, didn't you? Though?
Yeah, I had a Kickstarter for it, and I mean, it was awesome. We ended up having it fulfilled within 5 days.
Yeah, that
Wow.
feeling,
Excellent.
that feeling of crowdfunding, being such a
It's
success, I
incredible.
can't
And
even
then
imagine.
Kelly Sue DeConnick had sent
Really?
it out to all of her fans. And
That's awesome.
really cool.
yeah, when everyone was letting me know, like, oh my God, Kelly Sue just put it on Twitter and her Tumblr and all that.
That's really cool.
And I was like, oh my God, that was great.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now digressing, what are the events that brought you here to Comic Book Jones?
The grand opening, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were here?
I was here.
I remember,
wow.
I remember giving Rob White the Last Man books a while ago.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was the first book I got
Yeah.
here. Yeah, man, I remember. You guys had the store getting ready and everything, and when I came here, it was just awesome, man. I mean, it's so homey. You know what I mean? And it's great that all of you have different personalities, so it's awesome. It's really
Too
awesome.
bad you didn't get to experience Tony's food engorge one.
Yeah. Well, Rob listens. He listens
Yeah.
to the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
So you know Tony.
Yeah.
And you know Babyface.
I believe you're the first creator we've had on who's openly admitted to listening to the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was all ashamed?
No,
No, no, no, no.
Actually, yeah.
that's not the blame in the head.
I agree with Tiger's statement. There's a lot of shame.
So now, what are you still reading on a consistent basis, or
Well, comic books?
comics? Yeah.
I'm actually, I'm currently reading Sandman. That's
Okay.
the first time I ever dabbled into that, and it's very interesting.
Yeah.
To say that so far. You know what I mean? I heard that there's going to be a TV show or a movie.
He's working on a movie.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is involved in
Yeah.
some
Oh,
way.
okay.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Which was all my excitement of the movie comes from.
I'm hoping
I'm
for
psyched.
a Preacher. I mean, a Preacher.
Preacher, yeah.
TV show.
Well, we
AMC,
love
I
that.
heard.
Yep.
That is my favorite
Yes.
series. Oh.
So who, what artists are you like gaga over? Like who do you grow up loving and who do you love now? Start off with who you grew up loving.
Okay, grew up loving John Romita Jr.
Uh-huh.
and I always.
And he's on Superman now. That's like a dream come true for you.
I know, right? Imagine
Yeah.
full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
No, he's the regular
Yeah,
artist for
I know.
Superman. Provider.
And still John Romita Jr. He's fantastic, and Jamal Igel's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, great pencil work.
hmm So now, as far as when you started, when the idea for Little Maya, is it something that was like rolling around in your head for a while,
Right.
or were you like, I'm going to kickstart it, here's a blank slate, and I'm going to make something up?
It is actually what happened was I was doing a lot of issues for Moonstone Books, Secret Agent X, and what happened was this was in 2010, and you know, comics weren't doing so hot back then, and they had to can a lot of projects, and mine was one of them. So I was like, oh man, like, this is rough, you know what I mean? And then I was going for my master's at the same time doing art history, and at the same time there was a course being offered by Bruce Deegan, the creator of the Magic School Bus, and illustrator. And I was like, how could I turn this down?
Yeah.
You know, this would be, I would kill myself, you know,
Yeah.
if I didn't take this. So I took the course, and now my style was very noir, very realistic.
No, I just saw a couple people I knew you in high school that said that they've seen you blow up now since you've gone to a little bit more cartoony of a style.
Yeah, and what happened was, you know, he really opened me to this whole world of comic books, and it's fascinating because there is really no restriction for children's book art. I mean, you have like books.
I mean, is that what you consider? Do you consider Maya a children's graphic novel or a children's book, or
I tell you, it's really a bit of both.
it's definitely a comic
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
yeah,
You know, it's sequential art.
right.
You
Telling
know,
a story.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's moving along,
Yeah.
and you have artwork that looks like abstract expressionism in children's books. You have stuff that looks like classic early Renaissance paintings. I mean, it's incredible. So when I realized that there was like this huge variety, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try something. And in that class, my idea for Little Maya was born, and I took it from there. And I actually went to publishers, and they asked me to change it into a boy.
Really?
And I was like, the whole point of the story
Is
is
the
to
children girl?
Why?
they thought that because of all of the it's kind of like actioning, and they thought maybe it should be geared toward boys. And I was like, you know, the whole point of the story is to show girls that they can be strong too.
Right.
You know, and also, you know, that
Well,
show-
you see, yeah, girls don't really like action stories.
Or Rob just
Oh,
proved in
girl-
one swift moment why everything is so boy-centric.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a thing
Action
with Kevin
figures.
Smith? He talked about how oh no, who was it? The one who was doing Justice League, and he said how the
Oh.
girls don't buy action figures, so that's why they're only
Oh no, that was Young
was that?
Justice.
Young Justice.
The
that was
TV
it.
the TV show was canceled because the toys weren't selling.
That was it.
And it was the first DC-based comic show that had an audience that was majority female.
Yeah.
And Cartoon Network canned it because girls don't buy action figures.
It was unreal, man. So,
Which is why we have Teen Titans Go now.
right. So what I did was I said,
Again.
I told them no. I said, you know, this is what it's about. So, no.
Good for you, man.
I'm not going to do that.
Stick
So,
to your guns.
yeah. So I did the Kickstarter, and thankfully, you know, people were really ready for Maya. So
Awesome.
hopefully we proved them wrong. You know?
But now you're also an art teacher.
Yeah, I teach art too at Art Lab. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And how long ago did you start doing that?
About 4 or 5 years ago, and let me tell you, those kids were the best critics for the books. You know, they were like, not enough purple.
Yeah.
So now what would you do? Would you bring them in pages as you finished them?
I would
or-
bring in the pages. I would show them the story, and I would say, "What do you think of this guy? You know, what do you think about his colors? What would his colors be?" And they all wanted the fish to be bright, which is interesting. I just kind of imagined it being a little bit dark. I don't know why, but maybe I was thinking too much like Pinocchio and the Whale, you
You
know?
want brutal honesty? Talk to a kid.
Right, and they wanted that. They wanted the really bright, strong colors, and then it made me think about something. Like one kid said, it'd be like it's like from the bottom of the sea. You know how like you have all those neon
Yeah,
creatures,
fluorescent.
and I was like, oh wow, that's a
That
great
makes a lot of
idea.
sense. Yeah.
And so that affected the book.
Yeah,
I mean,
that affected
it
the
really.
book.
So then
Absolutely.
you owe these children royalty. They're
I
co-creators.
was about to say, have you heard from the children's joint lawyer?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we have to burn this
The
tape.
children
The
versus
1-8-year-old that
Robert
really
Geronimo.
knows how to use a phone well. And call his daddy's lawyer.
We have plenty of 8-year-olds here who know how to use phones well.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Now,
Well,
do you see a sequel, or is this? Oh, you do.
I do
Okay.
see. Yeah.
So are you looking to do like a series of Little Mayas, or?
Yeah, I have tons of ideas floating in my
are you
head.
looking to go back to crowdfunding for him, or?
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see how this one goes, and then I would like to do maybe crowdfunding for the sequel.
You did well today.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
in the
man.
shop.
I have to say.
I mean, honestly,
it's an honor to be here. I have to just say that.
I
It's
can't
my
remember-
favorite comic book store on the island.
Thank you.
Thanks
Dave.
for being here. Outside of football, I can't
Tremendous.
remember moving that many books.
No, that's
at
what
a
I'm
time.
saying. I mean, especially a book, at a $16.95 price point. But people really stepped up and
We've had people over the
Sold a
last
lot
2
today.
weeks coming in asking for it,
Yeah.
and we sold out of it. I had to tell them, like, oh, he'll be here next week.
Yeah.
You can just come in and
That's
get it,
incredible.
we'll have copies.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I can't remember since, I think it was when we had, honestly, no joke, I think since when we had Phil Jimenez here,
Yeah.
Oh, Phil Mendes.
I feel like that was the last time people called to ask when it was and what time he was going to be here. And I got at least 2 phone calls, people asking when is Robert going to be there, what day, what time.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So,
incredible.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, that's amazing, man. I mean, and if there's one thing I learned with self-publishing is that no matter what, whether I know. Well, I'll put it this way: when I took a class with Jamal Igle to learn about sequential storytelling.
Okay.
He's an amazing teacher. Him and Steve Walker, and he does. He works for Random House, and they're really good friends. And Jamal said, "Okay, how many of you are serious about being comic book artists?" And of course we raised our hands, and he goes, "Okay, just so you know, you're now officially all my competition." He goes, "Look at it that way."
Mhm.
Wow. He goes, "So how hard are you gonna work?" Wow, I gotta work pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a great president to set in that kind of
Yeah.
class. Wow.
Yeah, and it's true because when I think about my book has to go on these shelves, and I need people to say, okay, I want to buy Little Maya, not this book by Macmillan or by Marvel. Your book has to look just as good or even better in quality and physical.
Well, when it comes
quality.
to
Even
children's
just the cover.
collections, you have one of the prettiest books that's come out.
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
long time.
Thank you so much.
I mean,
It's 2 years in the making.
I know you started reading Sandman. You know that Neil
Yeah.
Gaiman has done several
Oh
children's
yeah,
books.
oh he was
And have
big
you've
influence.
looked at those and
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Garth Ennis did a kid's book last year.
Did he really?
Yeah, what was it?
Oh, I'm really.
Earth. It's about like a tadpole. It's awesome.
I have to check it out.
Yeah.
He's one of my
ERF,
favorites.
Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get pretty dark, but Punisher Max is one of my favorites.
Punisher Max is like one of the best Marvel series they've ever done.
I have to say, I mean, for me, I still think that Garth Ennis's best work is Preacher and Punisher Max.
Oh, hands down.
You know,
I've yet to.
He-
Punisher's
he grabbed-
ruined for me.
he grabbed the Punisher and he fleshed out the Punisher more than anybody else ever
Oh,
has.
yeah.
I can't fully enjoy every other writer's Punisher arc because of Max.
Yeah.
Rucka came really fucking close,
You know,
but
Nothing could touch
he
it.
made him an older. He made him an older guy.
yeah,
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
which made a lot of sense. You know, he's just a regular guy.
only Nick
And-
Fury shows up.
And he right.
The
and
only
he went-
realistic Marvel
It's true.
character.
Love that. Love
And
that.
then he basically was like, okay, so your family's been avenged,
Yeah.
and you're constantly going after and killing people in the mob or people
Drug
in street
runners,
crime and whatnot. So at what point is it that you're a serial killer who your
Absolutely.
victims are? These are your victims.
Yeah.
These are the people that you go after. A serial killer goes after a girl with red hair in her late teens.
Yeah.
You go after this archetype. Widowmaker is the one trait that really fucking blew my
But even
mind.
Bourne, when he did
Oh,
Bourne, and he fleshed it out, and
Yeah.
that first time that the Punisher, that Frank Castle,
That was
really
fun.
kind of kills somebody in cold blood,
Yeah.
and just once again without any words,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. See,
it's like, all right, shit, man.
Absolutely. I mean,
To me, it's incredible when a writer comes along and really makes a character that's already been established his character. It's It's hard to believe that he didn't create him,
I know.
and you don't see that
And
often.
it was
You know,
almost 30 years after the
but-
fact of the Punisher.
You know why though? Because he clearly went in there not being afraid, and I say that because I read an interview with him, and they asked him, all these characters, you're killing them off. Why? And he said, so I can make better ones.
Beautiful.
I mean, wow.
And then you end up with characters like Barracuda.
Oh, let me tell you,
man.
he to this day, I've never been more horrified and terrified.
Oh, Barracuda's a motherfucker.
Ever when I was turning that page, oh my god, when that issue ended, where he put the gun to the baby, no spoilers, and it just the issue ended there, I was shaking.
I'm gonna go back and reread all this.
So now, we talked about as far as
2 days.
writers, artists who influence you.
Right.
What writers?
Writers, okay, without a doubt.
So I guess Ennis Gaiman.
Yeah, Gaiman, yeah, and Tim Burton had a huge influence on me. I mean, really early Tim Burton, the best Tim Burton, when he was in his prime. I mean, although I loved Frankenweenie, but he did do that short, with.
What about his illustrations like Toxic Boy and
love it.
yeah?
It's just, it's kind of, it's very innocent. You know what I mean?
There's still rumors out there that he's going to do a film version of The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy.
Oh wow! Did you see that show at the MoMA? He had that amazing art.
I was supposed to go with a friend of mine, with my friend Motion, and I never made it. He went. He said it was just fucking incredible.
I went twice. I mean, you literally didn't have a moment with any of the artwork, but just to see all his stuff, I had no idea he was such an incredible draftsman. Beautiful ink work and everything. Great stuff.
James and Giant Peach was good.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Babyface.
Babyface chimes in.
So, did you? Was it that you wanted to have your first published work be a children's book? I mean, was that the plan?
It wasn't the plan actually. I always imagined me doing something darker, and then the story just started.
I mean,
to
like
hit
creator
home.
owned is what I'm saying.
Creator-owned, yeah.
As far as published.
Yeah. I originally was going to do something a little bit darker, and then it was kind of like this alien story, similar to like Alien.
Uh-huh.
And then this story was just really like an amalgam of everything I loved. It had a little bit of the horror, because one thing I don't agree with is that I think it's very unhealthy for children not to experience fear. Because how could you deal with fear if you don't know what it is?
Are you a dad?
I'm not.
So what the fuck do you know? I'm just kidding.
He's gonna go home. Your kids. Oh my god,
Well,
you're free.
my dad kind of tossed me in the pool that way, and you see how I turned out.
Oh yeah, me too. My father
Pretty-
just threw me in. That's how I learned how to swim. I
Yeah.
think it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
something that, believe it or not, Jim Henson believed in. And if you ever see Labyrinth, he was a
Oh, yeah.
huge influence on me.
Well, you look at some of his Muppets. Some of his Muppets are pretty
Fucking scary.
fucking creepy.
Scary. Yeah.
I was
Dark
terrified
Crystal.
of Sammy the Snake.
Dark Crystal's
scared-
fucking is.
That scared the hell out of me, but I still loved it,
Fozzie.
No, there's one bit, if you YouTube, there's a bit from the old Muppet Show with Zero Mistel talking about creepy things. And just, creepy things that just keep popping out of everywhere. It's insane.
Right.
So go on. As far you said, you feel children.
Oh yeah. I think it's important for them to understand what fear is. You know what I mean, and then how to handle it. That's what's important. How do you handle fear? And they do that. Little Maya is the vehicle for them to experience that. Because there are no parents in the story. Maya has to face these on your own. Because sometimes you're going to be alone.
How does she afford that apartment?
Well, there's parents somewhere, just not in the room.
It's like Charlie Brown Band.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
They exist,
Right,
but
so
it's
the-
most likely like purgatory.
So now we know Maya's name. Like what does that
All his sketches
the
have
Gentleman
names.
Fish? Does he have a name?
Yes, he has a name.
I was trying to absorb all the names.
I
of
see
the
him as
characters.
Gentleman Fish.
On the table before, all the original art he had out had named characters from the book on them.
Uh-huh.
And it took me a moment because I went through the book and I've read, I don't want to say with quotes, but I've read Little Maya.
Right.
And I couldn't connect any of the characters, and it was getting me angry that because I didn't have the name on the page at the time. It's like,
Right.
Yeah.
Some of
now
them
we're
are-
gonna read this again, and it's gonna be ridiculous.
Some of them aren't in the book. That was just original.
No, I know.
sketches.
I recognize the right
Oh,
characters. I'm
yeah.
talking about mainly the main fish.
Oh yeah. He's Walter, and I give away his name.
Walter?
In the back synopsis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
it.
read that.
Cover to cover.
I went through it when you brought us the book, and I was like, "This is fucking gorgeous."
So now, has work begun on a sequel, or
Work is beginning. I actually have a second title I'm going to be releasing for people who love pulp. And
Okay.
that I'm going to be releasing at Comic Con.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's going to be.
Can you tease anything about
Okay,
it?
it's called Agent 87 and
Okay,
the Black
when are we gonna
Train.
have you signed for Agent 87?
Agent 87 and the what?
And the Black Train, and
And the
it's
Black Train?
basically the female Indiana Jones.
Cool. Are you doing it comic, or are you gonna do pulp novel style, where it'll be like light illustration? I love that.
Oh, that's cool.
Pulp novel.
Awesome.
And is it going to be? Is there going to be dialogue?
It's going to be dialogue.
Well,
Yes, there
pulp
definitely will be.
novel.
dialogue.
It's a pulp novel.
And because I
What
was
is it? Just
writing
nothing
this-
but exposition.
And you're writing it though.
I'm writing it, and
Okay.
I didn't have enough time to illustrate any of this, so I have Connor Williamson, the guy who does. He did.
He's doing the illustration. Oh, so you're not doing the illustration.
Not for this one. I'm doing all the writing.
Your illustrations are great. Can we trust you with words?
We'll find out. Hopefully.
What has he done?
He's done Wolverine, and I believe he's done Punisher.
What's his name again?
Connor Williamson.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's an extremely talented guy. He's awesome.
That's really fun.
Are you gonna have a booth at Comic Con?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a booth at Comic Con. We'll be there all weekend.
Well, we'll find you.
Yeah,
Great, I've got somewhere to put my bag. I'm sorry.
in your jacket. It's gonna
We'll
be
bring you a hot dog once in a while.
So you're going to be in Artist Alley? Or...
Actually, I'm gonna be in the small press area.
Oh, really?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, small press. Yeah, because I ended up creating my own publishing company to get this through, and it's Ascalon Press, so we'll be there as Ascalon Press.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited, man. It's my first time, exhibiting. I've always been there as an attendee for the past 6 years.
So now are you working on anything else for Little Maya right now, or
Yeah, I'm,
you got thumbnails, or?
yeah, a lot of thumbnails, a lot of layouts for the new
Uh-huh.
one, so I don't want to divulge where she'll be going next, but it's all about where her imagination takes her.
Yeah. Will it be thicker? Will it be like 500 pages? That's a lot of direction. You thought you knew Little Maya.
Everywhere.
Welcome to the seedy underbelly of Atlantic City.
Little Maya goes to Sin City.
Maya goes to the Golden Nugget.
Maya literally goes everywhere.
That's the final volume, and it's her sitting in a room. She's just been in a mental ward for years. Her parents are like, we put her in when she was 4, and it's just been getting worse.
It kinda sounds
There was
like
that
an
romp with
audiobook.
the Nazis. There was the fish people when she was younger. I don't know what's happening, Doc.
It's getting out of control.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh yeah, man. It's
Thank you,
an
Rob.
honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got Twitter.
Yeah, Ascalon
Facebook.
Press. Ascalon Press, and you can
Spell it.
ASCALON Press, and that's on Instagram. There's a Facebook, and I'm at Robert Geronimo Facebook.
Okay, and it's Ascalon Press at Twitter or at Ascalon Press on Twitter. You have a
however
Twitter?
you do that.
It'll be
at
at
Ascalon
Ascalon
Press.
Press.
It'll be
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Ascalon Press, right? And we have AscalonPress.com as well.
Cool. And I also like the fact that you had a lot of collateral materials. You had some stickers. You
Yeah.
even had which I've
The
never.
keychains.
Well, no, the keychains, but I've never seen sticky note
The
pads.
sticky
Yeah.
notepads, yeah.
Yeah, which was actually was that because you overreached your goal on Kickstarter?
Were you
Like, was this
looking
like
at the
extra
were you
stuff?
looking at like Vistaprint's website? I'm like, yes, sticky pads. I can make this a new stretch goal. Like,
Yeah, and also, I feel like that's something that is in everyday use.
well, when you see the name over and over again, yeah, that's like
Yeah.
Cowboy has stationary sets. Why not?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a great way.
You should have
No,
did tampons. They're used all the time.
Coral City tampons.
Come on.
It's not coral, trust me.
That's right.
It's 13.
Oh man, that's what comes to the
Oh, baby face, of course.
That one without words is a little horrific.